So, Happy New Year 2026 to all my listeners, followers, friends, um, humanity, Bitcoiners. um, yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New and, as I would say, magnetic fields year. Why magnetic? Why magnetical? Because I mean, you might have remember that I had this back and forth between Ashton Forbes a long time ago. I brought him together with Mike Harris. It was a pretty interesting conversation because he, brought in some totally different assets. What do you call it, aspects about the MH370, the missing MH370, and the problem is that people, most people, the like 99% of people, um, I used to be like that too, because, you can't even fathom, you can't even imagine, let alone, comprehend, understand the essence, the principles, the technology behind it, the missing 21 trillion. And by the way, I know I'm jumping from one point to another, but I do want to sort of as a tipping point or tipping, what ice tip of this whole, of everything that's been going on. Where is it on Solaris by Catherine Austin Fitz? You should definitely, I don't know, you should definitely follow her. She's like the first hand, like number one whistleblower insider when it comes to the missing at least that's the minimum of $21 trillion missing from the so-called official, US government. But she's been explaining this, elaborating and discussing it, writing about it, doing so many podcasts. I do wish that I'm going to have her on my show one of these days in the very near future. Let me show this to you. Let me show this to you. What I mean, I think she's written a new, I don't know, what is it called, like a article, or let me see. Here it is. Let me see. All right, this is Catherine Austin Fitz, and she was, what was she, like assistant or something, like secretary of George Bush administration or something like that, of the U.S. Department of Housing and Development, and she's the number one. I mean, she's amazing. I mean, she's amazing. The only thing that we still haven't got her around, like, is the background and the understand monetary technological properties and the background. She says, like, like Richard Werner too, the famous economist, who wrote about Japan's banking crisis, this whole debt crisis. She says, it's sort of, I mean, who cares? Even if it was someone who worked maybe once upon a time for the CIA, within the CIA, NSA, National Security Agency, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter, because it's a fucking protocol. It's decentralized. It is rooted and verifiable, transparent, rooted in cryptography, mathematics. It's the truly one and only decentralized money. Okay. Everything else is shit coins. It's a fucking fraud, a scam. All right. Anyway, so it starts off by saying the missing money. From when is that? I mean, because it's nothing new, but anyway, so she says, no money, there's a quote here, no money shall be drawn from the treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law. And a regular statement account of receipts and expenditures of all public money should be published from time to time. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7, U.S. Constitution, plain English, you owe us fucking transparency and accountability. All right, which we don't fucking have. I mean, just again, as I said in the beginning of this monologue of rant, of this Happy New Year wishes and magnetic fields and Bitcoin year 2026, something's going to break. And the pin is Bitcoin, definitely, because it's exponentially going to go in a spiral upwards. And I'm not talking about only, like number go up, in fiat, euro, dollars, whatever, whether it's a million, 10 million, 100 million per Bitcoin, but in purchasing power, in exponentially increasing by orders of magnitude, multiplying purchasing power. And of course it takes time, but once there's this sudden moment, this breaking point, this tipping point, and again, we do not need 8 billion people for the mass adoption. We just need, I mean, modestly, humbly said, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5% of any specific population, Earth's population, whatever, of the 8 billion people, right? So what does it say? $21 trillion is missing from the US government. Nothing new. We know that already. And if you listen and if you read Catherine Austin Fitts, expertise and research and insider knowledge, she's very conservative with 21 trillion. So of course they have been building at least since the 50s or 70s, or even since the 40s and 50s. I mean, just conservatively, let's just say, since the 60s, 70s at least, a parallel society, a parallel civilization, a breakaway civilization, as they would even call it themselves. So that is $21 trillion, modestly, conservatively said. It is $65,000 per person, as much as the national debt. And this is the financial coup d'etat sort of plan, the map of it, until 2021, with Operation Warp Speed under, I mean, as far as I can remember, under Trump, who's again, I mean, they deliver the heroes and, he's another clown. Of course he's controlled. Of course he's compromised and blackmailed. I mean, that's my personal humble opinion. I mean, you just need to look at their actions, at their omissions, at what they don't do, at their passive behavior, what they say, what they preach, what kind of show they give you off, what kind of, I mean, just, most of it just acting and clown show. So, and by the way, again, just for as a reminder, you can check it up, check it on Institute of International Finance, very renowned, famous agency or institute or International Institute of Finance, something like that, Institute of Financial Finance, Institute of Financial, it's a global, institution. And the official, now without the derivatives, and without the unfunded liabilities and what have you, it's, sorry, it's like, the sun is in my eyes. I got to do something about the light, and, maybe I turn on the light. But anyway, I'm just looking at you, ladies and gentlemen, my friends. Again, Happy New Year, 2026. 2026 is going to be an amazing, mind-boggling, sudden, shaking, vibrating, natural cycle event. I think it's going to start 2026. Okay, let's just say somewhere between latest, if we are very, very, very lucky, between 2030 and 2050 is already a lot, but I would say between 2030 and 2040. And I think we'll go, and we've already seen it. We just look at the data. I mean, for whatever, for the sake of objectivity, I have my thing, with Ben Davidson. I have my thing, with Ashton Forbes. And, I do, I put shame on them sometimes, because for the fundamental reason that they don't even talk to one another. They just, ad hominem attacks. He doesn't even do his own research, Ben Davidson, about the technologies that have been ongoing, developing, plasma technology, whatever you call it. I mean, warp, teleportation, whatever. It's because, again, if you don't go down the rabbit holes, or at least one of the many rabbit holes, and you don't do your research, you don't listen to the insiders or the whistleblowers, to the real scientists, and not the, psyop, clandestine, whatever, your corporate intelligence agency funded, controlled, steered, psyops like Rush, no, and I'm talking about like the real insiders, whistleblowers, scientists, engineers, especially when you listen and read the stuff of the real, who's been really down the trenches inside, whatever NDAs they've, but they can, at least they are able, or they have the guts and the courage to talk about at least the principal foundational, principles of the technology, of the real, true, forget the thermodynamic first law, second law, and whatever. I'm going to talk about like totally new physics where you can just forget about anything we've been learned in, or anybody's been learning in university, school, whatever, mainstream science, agencies, whatever. I mean, we've been talking about like the real science, the real stuff. So of course they've been building their own, creating their own, as Buckminster Fuller said, but in a negative way, for us, for humanity. If you don't want to, fight, don't waste time fighting against, the old energy, the old structures, the established, the conventional, they're rooted right now, the whole fiat, central banking, corporate intelligence, financial, digital, technical, whatever complex, which is like super, even though, there might be like competition and fighting, whatever. Well, we're talking about like the real control structures, the real multi, tens and hundreds of trillions of, if you want to, if it's at all possible to convert it into a fiatable, like dollarized or euroized or whatever currency. Again, that's why they've been printing money, with it digitally, physically, or or just creating U.S. securities, bonds, or paper it over. I mean, we've been seeing it even with gold, right? I mean, what is gold? I mean, what the fuck happened? 971.com. What the fuck happened? 971. Just check it out. What happened after that when they, decoupled from gold, and like went totally new, full blast into fiat money, right? What happened? I mean, everything went down the fucking hill, right? I mean, divorce rates went up like exponentially. I mean, look at the educational system, which has been, it has got its roots in the whole, even the medicine, whatever, allopathy system medicine by the Rockefellers. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. I have to emphasize and repeat this like a fucking broken record, It's just always the tip of the iceberg, all right? So let me just finish this, very short. It's not even, it's just a website, missingmoney.solarity.com by Catherine Austin Fitz. She has got fabulous researchers working on her, magazine. I think we should really definitely, I mean, if I have, if I can afford it, I will definitely, I will start really, I mean, she's done incredible work, incredible research, which you will not just get. I mean, she's been interviewing also Whitney Webb, of course, putting it public, she doesn't even charge anything for that. So anyway, so what's going on? Where's the money? How could this happen? How much has really gone missing? What would happen if a corporation failed to pass an audit like this, or a taxpayer? Well, prison, death penalty, maybe, whatever. This means the Fed and their member banks are transacting government money outside the law. Well, structurally, fundamentally. So are the corporate contractors that run the payment systems. So are the Wall Street firms who are selling government securities without full disclosure. Would your banks continue to handle your bank account if you behave like this? Would your investors continue to buy your securities if you behave like this? Would your accountant be silent? This is the reason there is such a strong push to change or tear up the US Constitution. This is why members of the establishment say the Constitution is old, outdated. This is why there is such a push for gun control. Don't buy it. We can use the Constitution to get our money and our government back. It is time to enforce the US Constitution. The Solari report has been covering the missing money. Again, it's just the minimum 21 trillion. We're talking about, I mean, if we really go down the rabbit holes, if we're talking about like at least 40, 50 trillion, but, let Catherine Austin Fitz, do her, about this. You just have to listen to her. The Solari report has been covering the missing money since 2000, when Catherine Austin Fitz began to warn Americans and global investors about mortgage fraud at the U.S. Department of Housing and Development, HUD, and the engineering of the housing bubble that led to trillions more dollars in bailouts and funds missing from the U.S. government starting in fiscal 1998. So it goes a long way back, a long history. And there's a quote by Carol Quigley, Tragedy and Hope. I read that book a couple of times. Actually, he didn't want to, there was no plan, there was no actual intention, or he shouldn't have published his book, but then he did somehow. But he was actually an insider, he was attached to the so-called parasitic elite, whatever, even Rockefeller, all these institutions, Carnegie, whatever, I don't know, whatever, Bilderbergers. I mean, all these global, financial, industrial complex, corporate, central banking, Bank of International institute, all the central banks of the central banks and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the powers of financial capitalism has another far-reaching aim, nothing less than to create a world system of financial control in private hands, able to dominate the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. It's a very famous quote, by the way. You should look it up in Tragedy and Hope, very thick, book. The system was to be controlled in a feudalist fashion by the central banks of the world, acting in concert by secret agreements arrived at in frequent private meetings and conferences. The apex of the system was to be the Bank for International Settlements, as I was going to say, BIS, Bank for International Settlements, the central bank of all central banks, right? In Basel, Switzerland, which is its own entity, by the way, like the Vatican, a private bank owned by and controlled by the world's central banks, which were themselves private corporations, by Carol Quigley, 1974. And by the way, just for your information. So anyway, yeah, this is, you should definitely follow her on X, Twitter, whatever, on her, YouTube channel or whatever, Rumble, on her website. Maybe if you can, seriously, you should subscribe to her incredibly, deeply researched, super like rabbit holes magazine, or or whatever, or blog, or newsletter, or whatever, what have you. Some of it, even most of it, is just for free. But she has, of course, her whatever, her donate, people who donate to her, who support her work. And I think she's been living, I would say, if you listen to her, the background stories, this is like fucking crazy, I mean, they even threatened to kill her, right? She wanted, but it was already too late. The book is already out and everything. So anyway, yeah, she's like truly one of the very few, like, living, I don't know where she lives, whether it's in New Zealand or somewhere, I don't know, far away. I don't know, anyway. So anyway, yeah, please follow her, support her, listen to all the interviews, especially also with Whitney Webb and so many, Simon Dixon also. It's just, I think he's not even going to put it on his own YouTube channel. I mean, Simon Dixon, he's like the total, like, follow the money. He knows definitely what he's talking about. There are some like blind spots, or like some, I wouldn't want to call it disagreements, but like he should like think a little bit further. But for the most part, he's incredible. Simon Dixon, I mean, in combo with Cat and Awesome Fits. So I'm trying to bring these people together, also with Mike Harris. And, I've been trying to even, connect like, Ashton Force with Ben Davidson, but they don't talk another, one with one another. They attack each other. And with their, Ashton Force doesn't even believe, or what? I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with fucking belief. It's not a fucking belief system. Either you understand it, you know it, or you don't, right? But like, I mean, it all starts like, what do you dare to question, the whole narrative propaganda? To be honest with you, to make it very short, just to come to the point about Ashton Forbes, I do not know. My very humble opinion and personal opinion is that he's either totally, I don't know, I mean, blackmail, threatened, a combination of, compromise, or I don't know, does he believe in something it's like a cult thing? I mean, what the funny thing is now that Ben Davidson, the Sun Weatherman, Suspicious Observers, the guy who's about, bringing out very soon the documentary, the finalized documentary about, I mean, for the general public, for humanity, like, what is the Earth disaster cycle? Why, and what is it what's going to happen, with the exponentially weakening magnetic field of the planet Earth, and the geomagnetic excursion, and the pole flipping, and the whole climate, scientific fraud, and what the real causes are of so-called climate change. I mean, they call it global warming, but since it wasn't like global warming, so they changed it euphemistically to global whatever, like climate change. Anyway, what I find funny is, because I just read some kind of comment or a statement by Ben Davidson on X, and it was like, who, Jesus, I mean, you guys have actually much more in common. I mean, in a negative way, actually, because he's like, I mean, who are you? Who is anybody to tell you or humanity that we are not ready for whatever, so-called, cliche called free energy technologies, whatever, has been going on behind the scenes, the disappearance of MH370, plasma technology, magnetic gravitational fields technology, whatever you call it, right? I would call it magnetical fields technology, actually, because the essence of gravity, gravitational fields, of plasma, of warp, of teleportation, of time, space, the essence of creation is, I even sent it like, I don't know, when was it? Like a year ago or 1.5 years ago to, I sent it to Ashton Forbes by, I'm not going to call, name his name, but the paper, research paper, it's a number of pages, but I sent it to him, the unified filter. It's pretty short, but very concise. What is electromagnetism? What is what is gravity, and what's the essence of it? And it's all boils down to the unified, whatever you call it, unified filter. But it's magnetic fields, the gravitational fields. Gravity derives itself or is created through the interaction of magnetic fields, right? Or 2 or 3 or whatever, magnetic field strength, right? This is why you go from matter to transitional to principal fields, whatever you call it. But there's like layers and forms and structures, even light, right? What is light? It just changes its shape, it just changes its shape. And the plasmatic field strength from the outer layer to the inner layer. And that's why it's like a Fiji arrow, because if it wishes, it tends to travel through space, to cosmos, to intergalactic, whatever you call it, to space, without any kind of friction, by orders of magnitude beyond our imagination, beyond our humble imagination, because there is no fucking limitation of. Einstein was wrong. I think, even to be honest with you, I think Einstein was even a plagiarist. There's scientists and great thinkers before him, and I think he repackaged a lot of stuff, or even stole. I think that's my personal opinion, from his one of his wives, because I think anyway, this is where it's going, right? So anyway, and all these theories that have a lot of fallacies and gaps and blah blah thing. So 300,000 kilometers per second thing, yes, might be true within a specific matter field strength. If the speed of light limited to 300,000 approximately, not at least 299,000 something, 909 blah blah. So let's just say round it up to 300,000 kilometers per second speed of light. But that's just the limitation within the matter field strength. I know I'm jumping from maybe even from Bitcoin to magnetic field, but this is the time. This is the time. This is the year. This is the timing. This is the moment where we, as individuals, as one individual, as many individuals, as communities, as the roots of villages, chicken farms, going back to the roots, providing yourself, prepping. Yes, you got to prep. You got to prep, especially when you have children. If you have alone, who cares, right? Ark and Noah, who cares? Who cares, right? But that's why this is the intention behind. This was the actual purpose, to bring Brandon Davidson and Ashton Forbes together. These two moronic, to be honest, I truly unconditionally love both of them. I respect them hugely. That's why I still, I criticize them, both of them, right? And I even, I don't even attack them. And I'm saying, why are you guys so arrogant? Why are you guys so ignorant? Why don't you talk to one another? Why don't you, what would be really great? But since, Joe Rogan, to be honest with you, that's my, I've been listening to this guy for many, many, many years and decades, to Joe Rogan, but I do have my doubts. Understandably, he's got his own family, and he's got children, and he's got his own empire of business, and podcast, whatever, and whatever, whatever it's called, fighting, and he's a celebrity, definitely, under the podcast. He is curious, definitely, blah 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 blah. He preaches, he talks a lot, blah blah, that he's open minded, he's curious, he invites people who but he's never invited, that would be like a mind-blowing thing to happen, if there was like fundamentally an honest, transparent, and really interconnected conversation, discussion, and dot connecting, like real atmosphere, that we could create in Joe Rogan's studio with Ben Davidson. And no, please, no Weinstein, no, no, none of these limited. I don't know. No, they're not. I'm sorry. Maybe they're just, I don't know. Maybe they're just ignorant. I don't want to even say limited hangout, but I do believe that Joe Rogan has been, and will always be under some kind of pressure. I'm not talking like literally like blackmail or coercion, but he knows, where his butter, what do you call it? His bread is buttered, right? I mean, we're talking about like, hundreds of millions or whatever. He's got his empire. He's got his two or three daughters or kids or whatever. He's got his, he's got his car collection. He's got his empire. He's got his people, his network. He's got people who call him probably like, hey, could you please invite this guy, right? And he says like, probably, I mean, I'm just imagining some things, but in reality, I think a lot of things behind the curtain, right, behind the scenes looks totally different, right? So I'm not saying Joe Rogan is a limited hangout or compromise or blackmail, but I'm not, by the way, I'm not the first one. I won't be the last one. There's been a lot of other, critical voices like, hey, there's something, just by omitting facts or questions or research or rabbit holes or reality of the truth or data. I mean, especially when we talk about Ben Davidson, excellent research. Again, I would criticize him, and I would really shit on him sometimes even, but I really, love all of you guys, but you gotta wake up. I mean, if you're talking about like imminent, overdue, natural, occurring Earth disaster cycles, with its the whatever, 3,000, 6,000, 12,000, 24,000, 42,000 cycle. Then we have the magnetic field of the Earth that has been, especially since 1850 and onward up to now, Carrigan event, 1850 approximately. I mean, again, as Ben Davidson and many others said, who know their shit, if a current event happened right now, with this weekend, with this exponentially weakened magnetic field of the Earth, we would be like fucking roasted, right? I mean, first of all, we are much, much more dependent. We've been much, much more dependent on, infrastructure, right? I mean, with its energy, communication, electricity, toilets, whatever, flushing. I mean, everything, right? Just I mean, for the sake of it, the internet or whatever communication infrastructure, we would be fucking roasted. It would be gone for, I don't know how long, at least, if not for a longer time or permanently, right? But it's going to come. It's going to come. It will happen maybe even sooner than expected. I mean, look at all the places, all the locations where you see and you've been seeing, or you hopefully have been paying attention to the so-called, what do you call it, aurora borealis, effects in places where you should not be seeing. I mean, it might be beautiful to look at it. It's beautiful. It's nostalgic, romantic. Wow, yeah. But this is actually a very fucking bad sign. It means the magnetic field of the Earth is like global, like around the planet, like weak, right? And so the solar storms, the solar eruptions, the cosmic radiation, everything. I mean, we're not talking about the sun. We're talking about like at the end of the day, about pole shifts of other planets, of galactical sheets. I mean, just listen. Look, just wait until the documentary comes out, because I'm not gonna like pull this out of my fingers, everything, right? I'm not gonna like summarize, or like I'm not a fucking AI agent, who's gonna like structure, like, but I'm trying to give you some brainstorming, some keywords, something to consider maybe, especially if you do have children, one or two, right? I mean, we have, a beautiful 5-year-old daughter, and and she's, for us, she's our future. She's our cosmic, essence. She is our soul, our magnetic field. She's the essence, right? A child, your child, our children, they should all be, we should care, right? And we should connect, we should start maturing, not only a brain in a mental, physical sense, but like psychologically, emotionally, intellectually, if you want, cognitively, scientifically, engineering wise, spiritually, understanding, comprehension, holistically speaking, because comprehension is the overarching definition of understanding and connecting the dots and really like, fuck AI, right? Right? I mean, if you've been thinking about it a little bit, because of the centralization, right? So what we need to do is like, the pendant of to X or not, right? X or Twitter is Nostra, right? The so-called decentralized, right? Social right? I mean, it has pretty much, almost identical, the function, everything. You can send messages, everything. Of course, yeah, it's gonna, evolutionize and it's gonna develop and evolve and very fast, right? But this is what we need, Bitcoin. Why Bitcoin? I mean, we've been having this. I mean, there were, I don't know, I mean, friends, my wife, and you start talking about Bitcoin, they get like super aggressive, like, they like, oh, and you attack our NGOs, because whatever, they're working in developmental, whatever, but they don't really see through. They got these shades on, they don't understand the structures, the fiat centralized structures behind these, so-called NGOs. What I mean? This is like so super ridiculous, like calling them non-governmental. But anyway, right? So it's one hand into another, and then you got the big, huge multi-trillion, 10, 20 trillion, whatever, 100, 300 trillion institutions. Now, let's just say BlackRock, whatever, right? So you got, and I tried, to give them a bigger picture, but like, God, she got so aggressive and violent, like went out, for a smoke or whatever. And I'm like, really? I mean, I congratulate her. Hey, this is great what you guys doing. I mean, if you guys really have been doing like evaluation studies, how these, people within Africa, Asia, whatever, in Latin America, really have a higher quality of life, more, self-sovereign, more independent, a better quality of life, whatever, and then try to, explain to her, hey, there are some, really good people here who are trying to set it up, like, so that people who have resources, who have methane or a waterfall or some kind of whatever it is, gas or whatever, you go with a container, with an internet connection, whatever, with a satellite, whatever, and you just connect it, right? You convert that, you convert that, right, that resource into energy, and you mine Bitcoin. There is no limitation to energy. That's the fucking, artificially created scarcity. I mean, look at the whole black oil thing, about Rockefeller, whatever, before and after, whatever, right? It's scarcity, right? Diamonds are not fucking scarce, right? It's been created. Like, look at the fiat system. Right? I mean, look at how scarce people have to live existentially, but they print trillions and trillions exponentially faster and faster. Of course, we're going to get stolen from systematically, structurally, and exponentially. Of course, it's not the fucking consumer price index that they're selling to us. It's much higher. And in some for many or some products or services, it's like we're talking about like almost nearly towards hyperinflation, because they talk about like hyperinflation 50%. Then you talk about hyperinflation, right? But look at look at the young people. Right? That's again, what the fuck happened in 1971? Listen to those people, with it, I don't know, whatever, with it be the big print, Larry Lepard, Broken Money by Lynn Alden, Safed and a Moose, who's now, even dedicated a book even to me. It's amazing. I was totally surprised, reading the last page, like, also my, thanks and gratitude, whatever dedication goes to Kevin Davani. I'm like, wow, like gold standard, like what would have happened, to sort of, serve it to humanity or to the readers in a way they can somehow, swallow it, because if you talk about like, oh, what would the future look like if our human civilization was rooted in a Bitcoin standard, right? So he took gold, sort of, because everybody, has a notion of gold, it's like 5,000 years, blah, blah, blah. And it's still, we've got inflation. Just a matter of time, resources, energy, and knowledge and expertise, right? To mine or to create more gold, right? And right now, as it's been going, of course, they don't want to cut their own flesh, but it's still per year, every year, 2 to 3%, every year, inflation gold, right? So they mine and dig up whatever. And now they found here and there raw gold or whatever, ores or whatever we call it, mining, locations in Iran, in whatever other countries or, areas of this. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I mean, yeah, you might, yeah, gold might be going up, silver might be going up, but, one day, very, very soon, unexpectedly, Bitcoin will just supersede and just overtake everything by orders of magnitude. And all these hundreds of trillions of, purchasing power or monetary value that's been like stored in all these crazy fucking, real estate and houses as this fucking store of value, which is like fucking insane, right? You should be living. You should be happy. Young people should be able to marry and have children and, go in a house and, have so much time to create, to contribute back to human society, to human civilization, to all children, right? With its peace, prosperity, technological advancements, evolution, freedom to travel through space. That's why, I intentionally don't never say fly sometimes, but, people don't know any other word, right? But what if you can, seriously, what if you can just tune into the magnetic field of whatever, an entity, a place, a planet, a moon, whatever, a galaxy, right? You tune in to the magnetic, let's say, gravitational fields, and then you, whatever, right? So yes, I'm not an engineer either. I cannot build it. And Ashton Forbes, by the way, yes, I mean, with all love and due respect, right? But you're an idiot, right? You're an idiot, to attack ad hominem even your own listeners, followers, to all people, and attack Ben Davis. And Ben Davis, you're an idiot to attack or ignore, ridicule, Ashton Forbes research. I mean, this guy, you both are geniuses and idiots at the same time, simultaneously. Huge morons, but at the same time, geniuses. Seriously. I mean, I'm not, again, I always say very humbly, modestly, I'm not super intelligent, right? But if you have like something is beyond and above and beyond and within intelligence, and that is wisdom, that is open-mindedness, that is critical thinking, that is questioning, which should all of us teach the very children that we raise, right? That's the first thing I taught my daughter. Question anything and everything. Question me if I do something. I'm so fucking proud of her sometimes. I'm so proud of her. She says, hey, Baba, this is not right. This is not good. The way maybe I say something or I shout or whatever, or I'm maybe too strict or whatever. Or you gotta, right? So you gotta be open-minded. You gotta reflect upon your own, your own thoughts, your behavior, your emissions, your attitudes, your behavioral pattern. We all have behavioral patterns. We got to break through these things, recognize them, because what do we want? What do we wish for? We wish that our children, let me go back here, right? We wish that our children are and will be, right? Now it's got the light. All right, this was not connected thoroughly. What do we want? What do we want? We want our children to be, the best version of ourselves, of our soul, of our wishes, of our desires, of our dreams, much better than us, right? That's why we don't repeat the mistakes, the behavioral patterns, the attitudes, whatever, this matrix fucking, brainwashing indoctrination of our parents, grandparents, right? But we take the good, we adopt the good, right? So that's what we do. Again, it's the year 2026. Happy New Year, by the way. Magnetic fields, Bitcoin, evolution, mass adoption. And we don't need 8 billion people. All we need is a critical mass of whatever, not even a billion, maybe 500 million at most, maybe a few 100 million people. That's all what it needs. The rest, I'm sorry to say, but this is, clinical very, very sober observation, right? Most people are just, I really feel with them. They don't have the time, the resources, they don't have the patience. They've got so much obligations, responsibilities, pressure, stress. They got to go to work. They got to take care, of your children. And how do you do that, right? I mean, look at the people, right? And who's suffering most of it, right? The children are suffering under these, because why? We're raising a new generation. We want them to be happy, to live in abundance with joy and happiness, right? So it's pretty sad, but it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. So, again, my call goes to, all you guys, insider, whistleblowers, researchers, investigative journalists, get together, connect the dots, start getting together. Joe Rogan, you gotta, I don't know, you gotta do something. I don't know, get together with other, whatever strong, powerful podcasters. Maybe you can create sort of a ping pong, discussion platform, whatever, or just invite 2 or 3 really good people who really complement each other, who really are match, right? This is what I intend to do, which I'm going to do, right? I mean, I found maybe of people who've never heard of, but their knowledge, their wisdom, their deep insights and understand comprehension and dot connection capabilities is like beyond insane. And not only those, again, I mean, bravo, Ben Davidson, yeah, but you got to connect the dots. What if we do already have the technologies, the plasma technology, the magnetic gravitational field technology, the applied technology that will help humanity, maybe not 100%, but again, what was it? Department of Defense, Pentagon, you mentioned it yourself, Ben Davidson, right? They've come every time and come to the same conclusion. I think it was just, plain English. If the grid goes down, if there were no infrastructure, approximately, I don't know if it was just valid for the whole planet or just the United States, but within like, what is it, like 3 weeks, or let's just say 3 months, like generously, within 3 months, maybe even 3 to 4 weeks, up to 95% of the human population, of the human, right, of humanity is gone, extinct, destroyed, right? And then you can talk, think about like how you're gonna, co-create, right? So there's some history behind it, right? If you look at the data, at the evidence, that we need actually, more, we need a lot of more, to be becoming mothers, right? The female energy, the female spirit. And so anyway, so either we're just going to face it and go, or each one of us, we could prep and connect and blah, blah, and, transition and find like a, up in 2,000-3,000 meter or whatever in certain parts of the planet, which there's also, which I'm going to invite that researcher on my show pretty soon. I already, connected already. And it's just a matter of, connecting her with another, researcher. And we're going to talk about this, right? The reality, we got to face it. We got to face it, my friends. We got to face reality. The reality of truth, the truth of reality. Look at the data, look at the possibilities, look at our options, and look at the reality. Seriously. I mean, the technology is all there, but we need to connect the dots, right? And it's imminent. It's overdue. The cycle is overdue. And this documentary, which will come out, with Ben Davidson and all these other insider whistleblower scientists, even from pretty prominent, let's say, institutions, I think it's going to be mind-blowing, because for the first time, people, like the general public, will for the fucking first time understand, see for themselves, and really like be like sober up, like this is the reality that we're about to face, right? Beginning with the exponential weakening magnetic field, our protective shielding, right, of planet Earth, of our mother planet Earth, right? So, Ashton Forbes, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Get yourself a girlfriend, don't be a fucking, pussy. Don't be so ignorant, Ben Davidson. Don't be so arrogant, Ashton Forbes. Don't do ad hominem attacks. I know it sounds like ad hominem attacks coming from me, but no, I'm trying to get you together. I'm for fucking peace. I'm for fucking evolution. I'm for fucking, like spiritual consciousness, magnetic field comprehension. Yes, we can, start, step by step, like building stuff. But I'm talking about like at the end of the day, we're talking about like what's the essence of your emotions? Motion, energy, motion, right? Consciousness, thoughts, intention, wishes, DNA. What is a DNA at the end of the day? Besides COHN and, amino acids and blah, 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 right? The essence, you got to go back to the seed of the root of the essence of creation. And that is a magnetic field. It's an informational carrier. It's a magnetic field informational carrier. And I told you, Ashton, I mean, don't pretend, don't act like it's like something new because Dr. Yu and, who, to be honest, I mean, I really love this guy, but he's got to work on his, sometimes, it's a little bit, you got to really listen to him, like focus, like, because he talks like very, with a, accent and very fast sometimes. So, but he's a great scientist, definitely. Yeah. But he's not the first one to explain to you, actually, it's about magnetism. That's what he said. Like, look, yeah, Clayton Harris redacted, right? One of his last interviews, right? Dr. Yo, he's already talked to Ashton Forbes again. So, I mean, it's admirable. It's fantastic that you, Ashton Forbes, get together, get to sit down with all this, even like, NDA signed, whatever. And I think the only guy that he hasn't talked to is Hal Puthoff, maybe, or something like that. Like, he wants him to have it, like really, like face him with reality. But anything else, Ashton Forbes, you should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, just because we dare to ask questions, to criticize, to be reflective, to question something, we are bad people. We are conspiracy theorists or whatever. I mean, are you fucking out of your mind or what? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Seriously, are you compromised? Blink once, twice, whatever. I mean, are you compromised? Are you blackmailed, coerced? Do you really believe in that cringe, kitschy patriotism? I mean, whatever. And I mean, if it were up to Ashton Forbes, he actually said it in I think 1 or 2 interviews or monologues. He said like he would be up to, centralized AI, like super like panopticon like thing, because what? Because we would whatever kill ourselves with this technology. I mean, come on. We already have the technology. We already have like whatever, right? Destructive technologies that other, the bad, evil people could. I mean, come on, right? I mean, by the way, again, yeah, we're about to face Earth disasters as the first phases in the next few years and decades to come, right? So what do you have to lose, by the way, right? No, I do not believe, and I do understand that this is impossible to, yes, you could like imagine, fantasize about pulverizing. I mean, there was this talk like we have so many, like whatever, hydrogen bombs, nuclear, whatever. I mean, I know there's this controversy and discussion like, do we really have nuclear bombs? And was it like Nagasaki, Hiroshima? Were those really like nuclear? Because the whole, as Ashton Forbes, I mean, he's brilliant in that, right? Because he explains to you behind all these fusion, bomb and nuclear research, a Manhattan Project, there is actually a much, much bigger picture behind this, which they have been suppressing, keeping secret all these decades until now, and which is breaking free right now. Right. I mean, at least, he was on Dr. Stephen Greer's podcast talking, blah, blah, but it doesn't go to the whole holistic root of this, reality of the truth and of our possibilities, of our potential that we can create with these technologies to protect ourselves. Right. And sometimes, sure, there's a spiritual, thinking and elaboration in my fucking mind, like, okay, yeah, there are, a number of people, a number of entities, whatever you want to call them, right? A number of people on this planet who are really, truly, truly fucking insane and psychopathic, sociopathic, fucking satanic evil. Like they fucking like feed off their, the negative energy, the suffering, the pain that comes off. I'm totally, I mean, even what's his name, right? you know, the, the mainstream, you know, broadcaster, oh God, Jesus, you know what I mean, right? The podcaster, I'm sorry, I got a blackout, right? So who interviewed Putin, right? Sorry about that. I got a blackout. But even he talked about, like, you know, the negative forces like feeding off and demons. And so it seems to be like whatever. I mean, we could call it like another psyop, you know, distraction, discussion, conversation, whatever. But we gotta really stay open-minded and, you know, always question everything and still connect the dots, and always, you know, go layer for layer and go back, zoom out, and try to understand it at the end of the day. What is it we're talking about? What is it that we really need to talk about, right? As Buckminster Fuller said, you know, don't waste your fucking time and energy, you know, paraphrasing here, you know, fighting the old structures, fighting the old energy, fighting the old system, right? Create a new one, create new structures, create new technologies, he meant, right? Create new, be creative, create, connect the dots, fuck it, fuck the patent system, fuck all these insiders, corporations, you know, all these corrupt, evil, greedy, you know, criminal, satanic, sadistic, you know, really evil, you know, entities or whatever, right? Structures. Forget about it. We need to go back to our roots. Like, really go back to our chicken farms and chicken barn, and, you know, have our own raw milk and and help each other, you know, especially when the grid is down. Seriously, the people are going to become, especially in the metropolitan areas, city areas, crowded areas. You gotta go get the fuck out. If by then we do not, and I'm telling you, this is very important what I'm telling you, and not for the sake of my ego or confirmation or whatever. I'm seriously, I'm thinking about the future of our child, of your children, all our children, right? I mean, it's still a beautiful planet, right? For most of us, right? But billions of people have no fucking, you know, quality of life, no water, no electricity, nothing. They're fucking, I mean, right? Being stolen from, I mean, we are being stolen from, of course. Not only tax. Why do we pay just for the illusion of whatever so they can keep up the system? No, they don't need even to collect taxes. That's why they print money. That's why they sell US securities. That's why they sell bonds. Paper it, this shit over. But once it's so blown up, and with, again, going back to my first thesis, what is it? The global debt, approximately 350 trillion fucking US dollars. Whatever that fucking astronomical, you know, number means, right? So with all the derivatives, with all the fucking unfunded liabilities, with everything, right, that's being owed to the past and current and future generations, and especially current generations, we talk about, like, with all the derivatives and unfunded liabilities, we're talking about like approximately, I think the last time I had in my head, 2.1 quadrillion US dollars. And that's the number added up, if you add it all up, with unfunded liabilities by the Institute of International Finance, a very renowned, you know, institute. 2.1 quadrillion. Let it just melt on your tongue, right? So who or what is the fucking balloon or bubble, right? Not Bitcoin. Definitely not. Yes, of course not. Gold at the moment, not. But come on. I mean, come on. Be serious, right? Be serious. If we're really honest with ourselves, we already have the technology to create anything we want on a plasmatic level, nuclear level, whatever, right? We have the technology, I'm telling you. And just imagine we find a fucking asteroid or whatever, or a deep under, you know, the oceans, like a vast, like, you know, space located for mining, you know, like fucking, you know, super, you know, gold, right? So what? Okay, then we are like fucking flooded, right? Everyone can become a gold trillionaire. Really? But that's not scarcity. Bitcoin is absolutely scarce with 21 million. Absolutely verifiable. Mathematical precision. In the year 2140, the last Bitcoin, not even to 21 million, it's like 20 million, yeah? The last fucking Bitcoin, every 10 minutes plus minus is another block. Everything is cryptographically verifiable, mathematically precise. Decentralized protocol. It's a fucking protocol. And I'm not even fucking, you know, scientist, engineer, or IT, whatever, computer fucking scientist. I don't need to be. I just need to fucking understand. Do you understand how your fucking car works, your fridge, your electronic device? Really? No, but it works. You can use them. It's been working for fucking long, and Bitcoin has been up 99.99. I mean, look at the fucking fiat system. Look at Cyprus 2013-14. They fucking stole. They fucking confiscated the money, right? And if you had like more than 100,000, I don't know, something like that, and on your bank, would it just be confiscated or something like, or I don't know, a huge percentage of it, like like fucking crazy. We're talking about like an EU, European Union member state nation, state country, right? Coming soon to a fucking sobering reality near you. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, wake up. I mean, to be honest with you, we'll talk about like, people I talking to with my wife, she said too, all our friends, who have no children. That's like a fucking huge dimensional, difference. It's huge, as Mr. Trump, Mr. fucking, Trump would say. You fucking fucking betrayed us. I mean, how could you have been fucking so naive, so fucking stupid, dumb-minded, to believe, to get us fooled again, Obama, the same shit. At the end of the day, you knew, okay, oh God, Michelle Obama has a fucking dick, all right? I mean, come on, right? I don't want to even talk about the whole satanic pedophilia. I'm just this fucking disgust. I just fucking puke. If we are as a human civilization not capable to protect all our children, whether it be whatever, Gaza, Palestine, or Africa, or any other, anywhere in Europe, even here in the so-called modern industrialized, still, look at fucking Germany, right? They're fucking, fucking suicidal. What the fuck are they doing? They're fucking suicidal. They're like masochistic, suicidal. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? You are not self-sovereign. It's not self-sovereign. You're still under control. You're still controlled, structurally controlled by the military, industrial, financial, whatever, US, Anglo-American, whatever, Israel, whatever complex, right? You're still controlled. There is no stuff. That's why, there's even, experts in really like huge brains that have been like elaborating on this. Like, this is why, this is why you get these in these papers. This is why, how this and this vote. This is why Ursula von der Leyen, the Talmud, this is like the valid and we live according to the, this is like, okay, live whatever you do, within your walls or whatever. But come on, you want to really inject 500 million children with whatever poison, or I don't know, mRNA or nano, whatever transhumanistic, fertilizing, fertility killing shit, or just kill them, right? Is it a population reduction in the literal sense? Yeah. So yeah, we could go from one rabbit hole to another, but Happy New Year, magnetic fields, Bitcoin, evolution, understanding, questioning, criticizing, reading, listening, reflecting. Have some joy, have some pleasure, talk to one another, talk to your partner, talk to your husband, wife, whatever, talk to your children, make them, wake them up and you really, and tell them, question me. Let's just talk, let's connect. If you know somebody, insider, whistleblower, investigative journalist, researcher, a podcaster, whom you think this is the timing, this is the time now, here and now, right? This is the time to do this now, right? Otherwise, the time it will just really just spill over and just be gone, and it will look like this, and we'll just blink and it's going to be gone, and you're going to bite yourself in the ass. You're going to fucking bite yourself in the ass. So please, for the sake of our children, for the sake of our future children, for for their happiness, for their soul, for their physicality, for their health, for their existence, for their evolution, of all our children, of all our future generations to come, the children of our children, of our children, of our children, for the sake of all of us, for the sake of human civilization and humanity and peace and advancements and progress and innovation and ethos, honesty, transparency, unconditional love, which a child is, right? For the first time, right? Those of you who have children know exactly what I'm talking about. Once you have children, it's like you're never going back. I mean, yes, of course, it's a lot of, of course, sometimes you need patience. You understand yourself much, much better. You enlighten yourself. You're like, this is my human, traits. These are my behavioral patterns and attitudes. But thank you, in gratitude. Thank you. Thank you so much. You cannot, infinitely, eternal, you are so thankful and grateful to have children, because for the first time and forever in eternity, you know what unconditional love really, truly means. So please give it on, pass it on, share this information, share this video or not. Just give me some comment, send me some context, send me a DM on whatever, X, Telegram. You can find me on YouTube. Follow me, subscribe to my channel. I'm even on Rumble, LinkedIn if you want, Facebook, not so, Instagram still. You can even send me a DM on, send me an email, info@bitcoin21.at. And the website is Bitcoin Mentor. It's just a non-profit educational, informational platform where I, with many other, ethical, really loving, unconditionally loving, sharing, really, we want to change, we want to transform, we want to create new structures. We come, we present, we give, speeches. I talk about, what is money? What is hard money? What is the potential of deflation is the key to abundance, right? As Jeff Booth said, monetary deflation with absolute scarcity of money, because why? Because technology, if I can use that word now, finally, inherent value, technology and innovation and evolution is inherently deflationary. That means everything, gets cheaper and cheaper and more better and better and better and more innovative and more technological and more decentralized and serves humanity. That's the whole fucking purpose of technology. Whatever fucking, it's so much emphasis on AI and this and that. No, think about structural technologies, technological, transformation, right? With its energy, communication, healing, medicine, if you want, if you want to call it, transportation, propulsion. We could have been in space a long, long time ago. You know that, I know that, we all know that deep inside our hearts and minds and souls, right? But of course, yes, sometimes, but there is, the proof of the pudding is now here. You just need to connect the dots. Even, yes, God bless you. God bless you, Ashton Forbes and Ben Davidson. Get the fuck together, you kindergarten kids. Get the fuck together. Seriously, the time is here and now. Get the fuck together. Let all your followers, your subscribers, your listeners, your viewers really, put some fucking pressure on Tucker Carlson. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Tucker Carlson talking about demons and blah, 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 blah. But, he's in a way, I think, voluntarily, involuntarily, Tucker Carlson is for me the prime example in a sense, like limited hangout with the intentionally but he has been talking about a lot, breaking a lot of taboos. So at least, credit really to what's due, right? But please, wet me web, please call me back, write me back finally. We should have had this conversation a long time ago. Let's talk. What are your thoughts? You're super intelligent. You're, encyclopedia like brain. Like Ben Davidson, he's like a super fast, super speed reader with amazing, like memorizing and mathematical abilities. Ashton Forbes is like super like in the, you know, the what do you call it, the pin in the haze, right? In find the needle in the hazer, or doing the research and going deep. You know, he's also like a little bit of IT guy, health, like something, you know, whatever. So why didn't you guys get together? I don't get it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, women, men, whatever, insider, whistleblowers, podcasters, get together, right? Come together, connect, but connect not, not, like repetitiously, like a fucking, broken record, invite the same guests over and over. Come on, Joe Rogan. I mean, how many fucking times do you want to, invite this fucking moron of, I have respect of, of the other Weinstein, but what's his other name? I mean, yeah, really, he's a really, the other Weinstein. I mean, what with his blah 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 blah. It's like, a lot of people. It's like, God, what the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't fucking make sense. It's not practical. It's not. It's just a mumble jumble. Let's masturbate on this, word salad because I fucking sound so intelligent. No, come on. You know what a good scientist, engineer, and thinker makes? You can express yourself that a fucking 7-year-old can fucking understand you. This is, when I think about, even whatever, Meron Tavakulikesh or, the Unified Field or other researchers, insider whistleblowers who can express themselves, articulate themselves in a language with words, with emotions, with pictures, whatever. With explaining things in a way so that I can understand. I'm still a child. So that this 7-year-old child can understand you, for Christ's sake. For Jesus' sake, come on. Why all this mumble, jumble word fucking salad? What do you, are you guys insane or what is it? Is it like what is it? It's like a fucking narcissistic trait of yours. You want to confirm yourself? Do you need more confirmation? And yes, I'm talking to you, all of you fucking Bitcoiners and podcasters and what have you. I've been here in this space for at least 2017 talking about Bitcoin, right? Not one of you has ever, and I dare to really put this on the table. I think to a certain degree, and I know it for a fact, privately been told, some people are just fucking scared of my questions, of the way I go into rabbit holes. I don't care, whether you're, I really don't care whether they have a deep voice, because, I'm like, I had this discussion, like, who cares? You're a brilliant mind, a brilliant engineer and scientist and economist and analyst, right? But you got to really open your space here, your mind, your intelligence. You got to start connecting the dots. You talk about like factual matter, information, data. Well, look at the data, right? Connect the dots, Jeff Booth. You talk about like, yeah, sure, future, evolution, ego, death, and blah, blah, blah. But, I've been trying in our conversation, our interviews, like to trigger you, to tickle you a little bit, like, hey, it's here. Yeah, and I'm not pulling this out of my fingers. Just listen to Catherine Austin Fitz. Have you ever had a conversation with Catherine Austin Fitz? No, but you should. Why didn't you, Joe Rogan, right? If you really want to make history, if you really want to do something really, really, truly something tangible, like really something visible, like a gut feeling, like a courage, right? Invite Catherine Austin Fitz, Jeff Booth, Ben Davidson, Ashton Forbes, and maybe even me just in the background, just so I can ask my 1 or 2 or 3 questions. That's all I need. That's all I need. I just need a couple of minutes. I won't talk to you like for 3 hours, but I could. I seriously could, talk for 3 hours now, especially in a dialogue and trial, because I'm a good listener too. I do listen. I can shut the fuck up and let you guys talk and connect with one another. And then we synthesize it. We summarize it. We reflect upon it, right? We let other people, other thinkers, other brilliant geniuses dissect everything, connect everything, synthesize everything, fuse everything, and then, right, connect the dots fluidly. Yeah, be water, my friend. Be intelligence. Be wisdom. Be open. Be fucking intelligent. Right? Connect the dots. Technology existing, suppressed, hidden, the principles, the engineering side, the practical applications, the prototypes, the imminent overdue coming. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, my listeners, my viewers, my subscribers. Thank you so much for all your support, by the way. You can still support me with whatever, a few sats, donation, whatever, because I've been doing this since 2007, 2008, and I haven't seen and really anything much. All right. Yeah, maybe I got invited to a conference trip by Eric Vasquil, but that's, like these kind, but maybe you could help me because I do want to go out. We want to do more live presentations. We could have a room, maybe even, donate it to us. But it's our time, our energy, our resources. We want to educate. We want to inform. We want to thrill. We want to enlighten, whatever, young, old people, right? I mean, of course, the ethical side, sometimes I'm like, dude, Jesus Christ. I mean, you're not even reliable. You can't even donate like a little bit of, right, just for our time and our transportation costs and everything, or the energy we put into like a little donation. Come on, right? But thank you again, in all gratitude for your support, for listening, for following me, subscribing. Please support me and support other Bitcoiners who are in the pretty similar, identical situation like mine, right? But again, thanks God, I'm not existentially like hopeless or whatever, but I need to feed, a family. I need to feed our child. I need to, in order to do this, I need to be independent. I need to be free, right? But I'm doing this out of my ethos, out of my heart, out of my soul, out of my compassion, out of my empathy, out of my vision and mission, out of my calling, right? If you want, out of my dreams, because I know my time is coming like exponentially faster to here and now. This is my time, and I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call y'all, everybody out with all my love and respect and gratitude and everything else. Really, I'll call y'all. I criticize you. I'll tell you, in your face, like, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Seriously. Why are you attacking people? Why are you ridiculing? Why didn't you ask the right questions when it comes to other topics, narratives, propaganda, and, so-called conspiracy theories? I mean, come on. Who created the fucking term conspiracy theory? FBI documents, CIA documents, JFK assassination, right? Even 9/11, but it actually started much earlier, I guess, right? Declassified documents, right? To discredit, literally in order to discredit and ridicule anybody who questions the official fucking mainstream propaganda, governmental, whatever narrative, right? So that's where conspiracy, Verschwörungstheorie in German, Verschwörungstheorie. I mean, come on, are you guys? And now they want to censor and block and sanction, I mean, fucking podcasters and serious like analysts and news reporters. And I mean, are you fucking insane? If we don't rise right now, we are fucking dead. We are fucking like, you can hang yourself. That's like fucking, I mean, just imagine with fucking central bank digital currencies, whatever you call it, stable coins, the same shit, but central bank digital currencies. You mean programmable, super centralized, like on crack money that tells you exactly when, where, until when you can spend, and if you behave or buy this or buy too much or buy too much stake or say this or say that, we cannot travel or what way. They can fucking control you. They can fucking imprison you 15-minute city, right? They've been doing this. They have been implementing this shit everywhere. Wake up. Good morning. Hello. Austria, European Union, America, United States of America. No, there is no fucking United States of America. Forget this kid shit. There is no Iran. We're just one fucking humanity. It's about humanity now. It's not about your fucking cringe, kitschy. Oh, yeah, we are American for whatever. Iran or Austria, whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. We are humanity. In the face of this reality impending, imminent overdue reality, Earth disaster cycle, the exponential weakening magnetic field of the Earth, geomagnetic excursion, the pole flip, the tectonic plate movements, the literal flipping, right, of the planet of 90 degrees. It's all coming phase-wise in the next years and decades to come. If we are very, very lucky, we talk about the latest 2050. Maybe if we are very, very extremely God-forsaken, lucky 2060. But I'm talking about like between now, 2030 and 2040. It's coming. It is coming. It's already here. The signs are here. The data is here. And if you just listen, if you just don't, glue yourself after hardworking day, your obligation, responsibilities, your chill, whatever, your numbness, whatever, your beer, your football shit, bread and circles bullshit, right? Snap out of this fucking matrix, right? There's a lot of truth, of course, in that movie. There's a lot of truth. You got to wake up, my friends. We all have to wake up. All of us, each one of us, individually, collectively. But let's just do step by step. If people cannot handle it, because why? Yeah, as Jack Nicholson said, you cannot handle the truth. You cannot handle the truth because you cannot handle the truth. Something like that, right? So, my friends, Happy New Year. I really wish you health, fitness, detoxify yourself, stay healthy, take your whatever individually, of course, I'm not a, advisor, you need to consult your medical, whatever, nutritionist, doctor, whatever, holistic, but, you got to take care of your health, holistically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. Meat is good. I used to be vegan, by the way. Yeah, I'm the, prime example. That wasn't good for me. I know that, before and after, bone density, I had a multifracture, 30 centimeter tectonic, what do you call it? Titanium stick in my lower leg, in my left lower leg. And it was nothing spectacular. I just, in slow motion, I just, slipped on the balcony, very in slow motion, and just cracked. That was because I was from one day to another, from all eater, meat eater to vegan and raw food and blah, blah, for 6 or 7 years. And that fucking messed me up. That fucking deteriorated and messed up my fucking bone density. And that's why I had this. I mean, it's a beautiful surgery still. Yeah, I can walk. I can, to a certain degree, I can run, but I can feel the pressure. I can feel the pain from time to time. So please take it from me. Trust me. Don't fucking start with vegan. Don't do this to your children. Don't do this to your animals. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to your family. I mean, if you're really masochistic and you really want to kill yourself and damage yourself, okay, go on vegan, whatever. But I'm telling you, since I've been like carnivore, I feel like great. Look at my skin. Look at my fitness. I mean, I don't do much. I do pull-ups and, all these pull-ups and, pull myself up and blah. I got this fitness thing. I do, especially in summer and spring, but in winter, not so much. I do take collagen, right? Collagen, what do you call it? Like from the organic cows, the pulverized thing. It's good for your skin, for your bones, for your nails. We eat a lot of meat, of course, salad, with mozzarella, and we eat all the other, favorite food of kids, right? Would it be good homemade French fries with tallow, with animal fats, right? I mean, just read the early books of the early 20th century, the multinational, books of the early 20th century. I forgot the names. I'm sorry. Was it like Fisher? I'm not sure. Was it like multi-ethnical, just take it from Safed and Lamos, who wrote the Bitcoin Standard, about principles of economics, the gold standard, and the Bitcoin and economists, right? And he went like deep into that rabbit hole, right? He wrote also not Crow wrote a sort of dedication to what's his name? Who wrote the Fiat food or something like that, right? So this is our time. So thank you so much for your support again. If you can support me, please, so I can be more independent, but we can truly be independent, free, so I can do my own research, go into different rabbit holes, do personal interviews. I have a professional, camera, microphones, everything, but I would need another assistant, co-assistant, something like that, a host, co-podcaster whom I can pay, but I don't have those. I don't have the luxury. So I need, to work like any other, human being. I need to work, provide, and, pay taxes and everything. Right. And so please, if you can get together, in a group or somehow, or individually or collectively, if you can make me, if you see that, if you can understand and see and witness the potential within me, because I know how to connect these dots. I know how to connect these people, but I need a platform. I need the luxury to be free, to be able to travel without having to inject myself. I need to have this, I cannot let anybody, harm me or something, or inject me with some kind of, vaccine or shit. Our child is not vaccinated, by the way. Yeah. So anyway, so please. Yeah. And the truth is coming. The data is coming out. It's all coming out. The studies are coming out. The proof of the pudding is here. We know for a fact, for fucking factual evidence and factual data. We know that children who have not been vaccinated, injected with all this fucking poison, right? With all this, whatever, neurological shit and poison and junk and aluminium and whatever, metal, semi-metals. And we don't know why it's a high concentration, and especially the injections, the vaccinations in short simultaneously. Because in my generation, I'm 50, about like over 50, right? So we used to get our vaccinations like in longer intervals, in longer time space in between. And that was not the ingredients that we have now have had for the last years and decades. So you got to think about these things, right? What does it do to the child? Why are there so many sudden infant death syndromes, right? 60, 70%. And to a great degree, to a very big degree and certainty, it's the vaccination, right? Anyway, Bitcoin is going to change transform everything, create new structures. The technology will come out. We will have truly for the first time in fucking human unbelievable history, that truly absolutely scarce money with 21 million, absolutely decentralized, absolutely non-confiscatable, immutable, verifiable, transparent, open monetary network, where every set, you don't need a whole Bitcoin. Who has 70, 100,000 euro dollars, right? You don't need that. Just do it like us. Just spend a few euros or dollars, 10, 20, 50, 100 into Bitcoin, and just do it for your children, especially if you have children, for your nephews, for your grandchildren. Put it on a mobile wallet for the beginning, and then a hardware wallet. It's all out there. We did tutorials. I even translated. I did, I commented, translated even the tutorials by BTC Session. We did our own videos. I did my own videos and instructions for free. Just check it out, my playlist on my YouTube channel, Key Davani. Yeah. Key stands for K-Van, the key to the van, because it's so fucking complicated. My first name, Key, Keyvan, Davani is my last name. So that's why Key Davani. The key, right, is easy, Key Davani, right? But please, there's so many free online, tutorials, presentations. We even would come to you if you get together as a group in Austria, in Graz, somewhere in Vienna, somewhere. I mean, you got to pay us. I mean, we got to, we need transportation. We need the time. We need the time to take off. We need, it's a lot of work. We need to prepare ourselves, right? We need to even, even the fucking parking fees, it's so fucking insane. Yes, sure, public transportation, blah, blah. But when you have, especially when you have children, you got to be on time somewhere, blah, blah. You got to pick up your children from, kindergarten, all this shit, I know this shit. My name is Kevin Davani, Key Davani, K Davani, whatever you call it. But that's why it's called the Davani Show, because it's simple, to remember, to memorize, to put it in your brain, to put it in your dreams, pass it on, share it with your friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, whatever, right? Your followers, your subscribers, your listeners, your viewers, anybody you meet, anybody, you know, for whatever, New Year's, Christmas, next Christmas, Easter, birthday, get together, family gathering, and it's out there. Just connect the dots. It's all out there. Yeah. And I'm, you know, again, I'm not the super genius here. I'm just trying. That's why I used to call myself the total connector, right? The true, you know, the Davani connector, whatever, the Davani show, right? It goes, you know, many, many dimensions and levels above and beyond Joe Rogan's, let's say, intention and wishes, why he started in the first place. You know, he does it, of course, I do understand, you know, out of curiosity and blah, 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 and entertainment. I mean, sure, entertainment, but come on, it's got to have a fucking ethos and intention and effect. I mean, come on, you have children. You have at least 2 daughters, Joe. Come on, all of you. Jeff Booth, Ben Davis, you've got a bunch of children. Come on. I mean, you're divorced, I know, for whatever reason. I don't care, right? But you love your children. Do it. Do it. Get together, for Christ's sake. Peel off all this fucking arrogance, you know, blind spots, ignorance, bullshit, you know, empathy, understanding, kindness, intelligent, dot connection, comprehension, right? Vision, mission, the future. It's here. It's right here. We can create it. Yes. But okay. Anyway, let's get together and back to the roots. If you can, especially if you're living on the, like a countryside or more away, distant, more from the, you know, crowded areas, cities, great for you, you know, like us. But you gotta, you know, form your own little communities, right? Would it be bread, raw milk, eggs? You gotta, you know, protect yourself. If it comes, you know, heart on heart, people are gonna turn into zombies. I'm telling you, the grid is gonna gone, and people are gonna be turned into zombies. I'm telling you, they're gonna fucking eat each other. You need to protect yourself, and you need, maybe even for the first phases, I don't know, somewhere. Maybe even I don't know. Look, maybe really for the one first, secondary phases, third phases, you need a bunker, something like that, a cave somewhere 2,300 meters. I think for the beginning phase, you need to really, just for a short time, you know, maybe for 1 or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you need to go under earth, non-penetrable, right? A fortress, a fucking fortress, invisible, prep. You got to feed yourself air, food, hygiene, right? You got to protect yourself, right? Arm yourself. I don't know. You don't know, right? You cannot count on anybody. No, you cannot trust anyone, right? But we could have a thriving, beautiful, blossoming human civilization where nobody should fear and should live in fear, exist in fear. We could just protect all children, all humanity, all the 8 billion people. At least, you know, to a certain degree, to, you know, whatever that is, a protective magnetic shielding, you know, some time, space manipulation, or, you know, or just, you know, or even go underground or whatever. And there are, I mean, what do you think these 21 trillion, 40 trillion, 50 trillion went into all these decades, which Cat and Austin Fitz has been talking to you about, explain to you? They have been building their what they call breakaway civilization, with the underground, above ground, in space, whatever. Where do you think all these tens and whatever, 20, 30, 50, 100 trillion in today's purchasing power, or last, you know, of past purchasing power even, you know? So Bitcoin is our only route, hope, and vision and mission, and the essence of a totally unbelievably, you know, new, thriving, unimaginable, you know, blossoming and gorgeous and cosmic evolutionary human civilization, future, anything, technologies, housing, you know, transportation, healing, We could be, I mean, we could be like hundreds, if not thousands of years old. You think this is crazy? You think this is crazy what I'm telling you? Just wait. Just wait. But we got to do this for all of us. That's why, you know, I'm telling you, it's here to serve us, to help us, to catapult us out of this misery. Especially for, you know, you think you're sort of isolated, you're somewhat protected, or you're part of this whatever Western, whatever modern. No, no. It's gonna come. We talk about human civilization, because we know what we're gonna do, but you know, if you're not here, you know, to develop, co-evolutionize, co-thrive, you know, co-help, you know, help each other and thrive and understand and connect, nothing's going to work out. Nothing will. You will, you know, maybe yes, 1, 2, 3, 5% maximum of human, maximum if you're very lucky, will survive this or these coming overdue Earth disaster cycles. But wait for the documentary by Ben David. I think this will, I already saw the trailer. It's fantastically, brilliantly done, and really like to the core, like real, like factual, right? And you can, for the first time, you will understand what we are, you know, we are in amazing times and incredibly scary times, but you know, no fear. My name is Davani, or Key Davani. And well, thank you so much for all the support for the Davani show, and for all your wishes. Happy New Year, magnetic fields, Bitcoin, evolution, joy, pleasure. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your children, protect yourself and your family, prep, communicate, talk to each other, open up, whatever it takes. Psychedelic trips, whatever, you know, whatever, do some, I don't know, go to Peru, or, you know, do it at home, do it in the forest, in the jungle, go to whatever, travel somewhere, whatever it takes, whatever you need, you know, everybody has a different key, right? For some it's breathing, some it's meditation, some it's food, for some is, I don't know what, you know, I don't know, cutting wood, or I don't know what's psychedelic, you know, transformation, holistic, you know, voyages. And this is our time. And it's overdue, and it's now or never. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.